want to continue talking about this. And for that, we want to bring in Paul Meeks, Independent Solutions Wealth Management Portfolio Manager. Paul, it's great to have you. So I guess first, just your initial takeaway. I know you've only had a few minutes to look at these numbers, but what's your assessment of the most recent quarter here from Nvidia?
So it actually was mixed. They beat on the top line, but missed horribly on the bottom line, which is kind of counterintuitive, right? You would think higher revenues would drive higher profits. And so they really are under a profit squeeze. The guidance that they gave for the next quarter was in line to slightly bearish in my view. It doesn't really change my estimate for the year ended January of 24. And so you have a company that's still trading at 35 to 40 times earnings. And I don't think the bottom is yet in this stock. So I would stay away from it. I don't think that this quarterly announcement, whether past or the guidance going forward, is any reason to turn materially bullish on this stock. I would, if you held the stock for the long term, I'd probably continue holding it. I would not buy it fresh right here.
So, Paul, is there anything on the earnings call that would change your mind about this?
I'd like to see at least some commentary or hear some commentary, that is, about a turn in the business. The problem is there are a lot of macro variables at play, and macro means they're not micro, they're not controlled by the company. So I don't know if anyone, whether the CEO, CFO, any of the analysts on the call, can be particularly bullish about a macro call. And so I really, probably regardless of what they say, whatever marketing spin they put on it, I don't think I would change my call, in which I've been bearish since about midsummer on this name.
Paul, you mentioned the bottom might not be in for this stock. It was just around 108 about a month or so ago. How much lower do you think we could potentially see shares go?
I think we could easily retrace the bottom. The problem is with the semiconductor names, there are some stocks that I'm starting to warm up to. None of the stories in this group are clean, and Nvidia isn't clean. Some of the other ones aren't clean. But the problem with some of the other stocks, or at least the benefit of some of the other stocks, I like AMD and Qualcomm, for example. If you're going to be in semiconductors within the technology sector, they have close to a trough in estimates, as Nvidia may or may not have. But those companies have valuation support, whereas Nvidia does not have valuation support yet.
Well, Paul, what about, and I know the notes that you sent over ahead of this report, you called the data center segment their crown jewel. And if you look at those results, it's up 30% year over year, revenue of $3.8 billion. Could that maybe be the silver lining in this report?
I think so. Obviously, they are a major player in the data center, and they always will be. And they will have some explosive growth coming out of this base at some point. But some of the other areas of their business are under strife, and probably will be for some time. But yes, if there is a silver lining, that is the one. Though I expect in a recession that if we're not in one now, one is imminent, that even the data center business could see some slowdown.
And Paul, what about the very cyclical gaming business? They did well in this earnings report, but what is your overall view of how they're positioned right now?
I think they're positioned well, but the gaming business has struggled somewhat, and we know what they sometimes call gaming business, right, is selling cards for cryptocurrency trading, and of course that is in total peril. And so I would not buy this stock unless it was so much cheaper. If you are going to make any play on the gaming business, it would be a total focus, as you pointed out correctly, on the data center.
Indeed. Well, great to get your take. Paul Meeks, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.